So, I have to be real with you right now because I feel like I'm the older sister you never had, and I'm watching you make the same mistakes that I've seen every guy in my life make, and I can't stay quiet about it anymore. So, get comfortable, get your notes app open if you need to, because we are going all the way in on the 10 real reasons you are not picking up girls. And I promise you, by the end of this, you are going to have one of those moments where you're like, oh, that's what I've been doing wrong. And it's going to sting a little, but it's also going to change everything. So number one, and I'm starting here because I think this is genuinely the root of like half the other problems on this list. You have no real confidence. And before you close the app, thinking you've heard this before, just stay with me for a second because I'm not talking about the frat boy, loud, aggressive confidence that everyone thinks is what girls want. I'm talking about the quiet kind, the settled kind, the kind where you walk into a room and you're not scanning it desperately for approval. I had this guy in my life, not a boyfriend, just someone I knew. And every time I saw him, he had this energy like he was just fine. Like he was enjoying himself, regardless of whether anyone was paying attention to him. He wasn't the most conventionally attractive guy in the room. He wasn't the loudest. But there was something about him that made you want to look again, and I spent a long time trying to figure out what it was. And eventually, I realized it was just that he seemed like he genuinely liked being himself. He had no apology for existing. And that is rare in a way that is hard to explain until you feel it. The fix is not to perform confidence. The fix is to actually build a life you feel good about. Work out, not to look good for her, to feel strong in your body, get better at something, have something you're working toward. Because confidence is not a personality trait. It's a byproduct of having evidence that you're capable and interesting and moving somewhere. Number 2. Your opening is either non-existent or it's a line you found on the internet, and both of those options are bad. I cannot tell you how many times I've been out with my friends, and a guy comes over and opens with something so clearly rehearsed that I can almost hear him practicing it in the mirror, and it's not that it's offensive, it's just that it's immediately distancing. Because I can tell I'm not talking to a person, I'm talking to a performance. There was a guy who came up to me once at a coffee shop, completely random, middle of a Tuesday afternoon, and he just said, "Hey, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought you were really pretty and I figured I'd regret it if I didn't say something." And that was it. That was the whole opener. No punchline, no trick, nothing. And I was immediately more interested in him than I'd been in guys who'd spent 20 minutes constructing the perfect approach because it took actual courage to do what he did. Courage reads as attractive before you've said another word. Just be a person. Make an observation about what's actually happening around you. Say the honest thing. That's the opener. Number 3, you are not listening to her, and she clocked it within the first 3 minutes. This is the one that girls talk about with each other constantly, and guys almost never talk about because it's not flashy, it's not a technique, it's just, are you actually in this conversation, or are you waiting for your turn to talk? And the thing is, I can always feel the difference. When someone is genuinely listening to me, I feel it in my body. I relax, I open up, I find myself saying more than I plan to. When someone is performing listening, nodding at the right times, but not actually tracking what I said, I feel that too, and I start to close down without even consciously deciding to. I went on a date last year with this guy who on paper was everything, successful, good-looking, funny in his texts. And we sat down, and within 10 minutes, I realized that every time I finished a sentence, he pivoted straight to talking about himself. Like full sentences had left my mouth, and he had absorbed none of the content. And by the time the food came, I was mentally writing the, "I had fun, but I don't think we have a connection" text. Listen. Actually listen. Ask the follow-up question that shows you caught what she actually said. That is more attractive than almost anything else on this list. Number 4. Your texting is a disaster and you don't even know how much it's costing you. Okay, so this is a big one, and I want to be specific because the devil is really in the details here. Sending 15 low-stakes messages across a day when you could have said everything in 2. That's anxiety texting, and it reads as anxiety texting. Responding within 4 seconds every single time she texts. That signals that you have nothing going on and you've been sitting there waiting. Double texting yourself 2 minutes after your last message because you got nervous. We see it, we feel the desperation, it makes us pull back. And on the flip side, some guys go so far the other way that they're leaving girls on red for 3 days and playing this whole psychological game, and that also doesn't work because it just reads as avoidant and weird. The sweet spot is, you're responsive, but not desperate. You're funny and light. You're not trying to have a full relationship over text. You are moving the conversation toward an actual plan to meet up because that is the only thing texting is actually for at this stage. Text to get to the date. Stop trying to build the whole connection through a phone screen because you can't, and trying to will just drain the tension. Number 5, you are not being clear about what you want, and you're losing girls to the friend zone that you put yourself in. I have to be really honest about this one because I've watched it happen to so many guys who were genuinely great and could not figure out why girls kept calling them their best friend. And the reason, almost every time, is that they never made it clear that they were interested. They were charming, they were attentive, they were always there, but they never crossed the line into flirtation, never made a move, never said anything that indicated this was anything other than a really warm platonic connection. And so the girl filed them under friend because that's the only category that made sense with the information she had. I'm not saying announce your intentions on day 1, I'm saying flirt. Let there be subtext. Make it obvious that you find her attractive. Hold eye contact a beat longer than a friend would. Tease her a little. Make the nature of your interest clear enough that she doesn't have to guess, because girls are not going to make the first move for you, most of us, especially when we're not sure if you even like us that way. Number 6, you have no sense of how to create an experience, and so nothing you do is memorable. Think about the last thing you planned for a girl you were interested in. If the answer is drinks at a bar, which it is for most guys, and I understand why because it's low stakes and easy, just know that she has been to drinks at a bar with approximately 40 other people, and there is nothing about that setting that is going to make her think about you specifically later. The guys I remember, the ones I've talked about with my friends, the ones who made an impression that lasted, they all created something specific. One guy took me to this tiny underground jazz bar that I didn't know existed, and it was a Wednesday night, and it was kind of empty, but the music was incredible, and I still think about that night. Another one suggested we go to a farmer's market and then cook whatever we bought together, and it was chaotic and fun and nothing went right, and it was one of the best dates I've ever had. It doesn't have to be expensive, it doesn't have to be elaborate, it just has to be specific to you and interesting enough that she's telling her friends about it later, because if she's telling her friends about it, she's thinking about you. Number 7, your body language is talking before you even open your mouth, and a lot of what it's saying is not helping you. I want to paint a specific picture for you. 2 guys at a bar. Guy 1, shoulders slightly hunched, eyes scanning the room looking for exits or judgment, leaning in too fast when he's talking to someone like he needs the proximity to compensate for something, kind of fidgety, touching his face a lot. Guy 2, relaxed posture, taking up his actual space without puffing up or dominating, making comfortable eye contact, moving slowly, not performing. I don't even need to know anything else about either of these guys. Guy 2 is more attractive, and that's a physical reality before a single word has been spoken. Slow down. You don't have to move fast or talk fast or fill every silence. Let yourself take up space. Make real eye contact, not staring them down, just present and comfortable. Let your face be relaxed. This stuff sounds so basic, and yet the number of guys who lose the girl to their own body language before they've had a real conversation is genuinely heartbreaking. Number 8, you cannot handle rejection without making it weird, and that is actually more of a problem than you think. So let me tell you about something that happened to my friend. She told a guy she wasn't feeling it after a few dates, and he responded by sending her a paragraph about how he thought they had something real, and then went cold on her, and then liked every photo she posted for the next 3 months. And she told everyone. Every single one of our friends knew that story, because the way you handle rejection is a signal of your emotional maturity, and it is observed and discussed far more than you know. The guys who handle rejection well, who say, hey, that's totally fair, you're great, I hope things are good for you, and genuinely move on, those guys get talked about positively. And sometimes the girl changes her mind. Sometimes her friend is interested, The world is very small, and your reputation for being a gracious adult when things don't go your way is actually part of your overall attractiveness. Take the loss well. Every time. Not as a strategy, as a standard. Number 9, you are living in pure scarcity mindset, and it is turning every single interaction into something that feels like a job interview, and girls can feel the weight of it. When you approach someone feeling like this is your one shot, like you've only got this window, like if you don't execute perfectly, you've lost your chance, that desperation radiates outward and lands on the other person as pressure, and pressure is the opposite of fun, and fun is what you need the interaction to feel like. I used to have this friend who was so in his head about girls, and every time he met someone he was interested in, he would get so intense about it so fast, analyzing every text she sent, reading into every interaction, treating every hangout like it was a make or break, and it never worked because the girl could feel that energy and it was just too much. The shift that actually changes things is when you start approaching interactions with genuine curiosity rather than desperate need. Like, who is this person? Do I actually like her? Is this someone I want to spend more time with? You're not auditioning for her. You're also evaluating whether she's worth your time. And when you come from that place, you are relaxed and present and interesting, and the whole dynamic shifts completely. And number 10, and this one is the one I want you to actually sit with because I think it's the deepest truth on this entire list. You are not actually working on yourself, and you think you can skip that step, and you cannot. I don't mean just going to the gym. I mean, do you have things going on in your life that make you feel proud? Do you have interests that genuinely light you up? Do you have friends you're loyal to? Things you're building? Opinions you actually believe in? Things you do just because they make you feel alive? Because here is the thing that nobody wants to say bluntly. The most attractive people are not the ones running the best strategy. They're the ones who have such a full, interesting life that their attractiveness is just a side effect of who they are. When a guy talks about something he's passionate about and his whole face changes, his eyes get brighter, he speeds up a little, he stops performing and starts actually being, that is more attractive than any technique in existence. Build the life first, let the attraction be a byproduct. Stop trying to get the girl and start trying to become someone who the right girl is going to be genuinely excited to be around, because that version of you exists. He's just underneath some habits that need to go, and some confidence that needs to be built, and some experiences that need to be had. Fix the 10 things, go live your life loudly, she'll notice. That's Lexi's advice.